Yeah, it is hot out here. But you know what? Many times when we're in a dry place, our bodies begin to produce so that we can refresh ourselves. And many times it's like that in our minds. We're in a tight spot, we're in a place of stagnation, and it seems like life continues to flow. I was thinking about how we were sharing regarding stagnation. We were looking at the other body of water and nothing really was living in it. There was no movement, no sound. It was dark, it was murky. There was scum on the surface. And that's what happens when we stay in stagnation. But when I look at what we're seeing right now, there's movement. You can hear the sounds of nature. The water is flowing. The birds are chirping. The marine life is active. And not only that, but the water is clear. You can see to the bottom of this creek, and you know what's in it. And you know, when you and I move from stagnation to a place of transformation that helps us establish a new purpose, we then begin to see what's inside of us because there's movement. It's meaningful inactivity. You may feel like I'm in stagnation, but many times we're in meaningful inactivity, that there's movement that's taking place and it's moving in different areas underneath the rocks of our lives, heavy moments in our lives, curves, bends, low places, high places, but the water continues to flow. Our creativity, our imagination, and our innovation continues to grow. Doesn't matter. The fact is that the water is still moving and how important it is for that water to continue to flow. I want to share today about how important it is for us to understand the realities of ensuring that we are in a space and a place of constant movement. How important it is for us to move. Yeah, it is hot out here. But you know what? Many times when we're in a dry place, our bodies begin to produce so that we can refresh ourselves. And many times it's like that in our minds. We're in a tight spot, we're in a place of stagnation, and it seems like life continues to flow. We need to get into the flow of that originality and that movement. One of the key things about change that matters is that if we're going to be hidden in stagnation, it produces isolation, incubation, it produces intimidation. And we end up isolating ourselves from others. When you incubate something, the purpose of that incubation is to see what's actually in the culture, what's growing. And many times we take places of solitude so that we can begin to see what's really inside of us. I know some of you might be like, there's friendships that have seemed to be in stagnation, or certain projects that you're working on, ideas that you want to move forward, and it seems like you've been in a place that's stuck. Well, many times it's because you want to invalidate the previous level that you've been on so that you can move to a higher realm of thinking and get out of stagnation, and you now can experience life in a new, fresh way. But that's what's taking place right now. Many times we experience change, and so we go through isolation and incubation in our lives. And even sometimes it's like insulation in a house keeps the warmth in. Sometimes we insulate ourselves because we're afraid of what took place in an experience of failure. But when you and I move from stagnation and invalidate that previous level of thinking and feeling and recognize it and embrace it, then we can move out of isolation. We can move out of incubation. We can move out of being insulated and not allow intimidation to rule us. The root of that is timidity, where I don't move. I stay stuck because of the stagnation that I'm feeling. But that's exactly what it is. It is a feeling. And when we own what we feel and understand why we feel, then that positions us to move forward into a transition. We don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay stuck in a place of stagnation. You can literally move forward from your thinking processes previously by accepting a higher order of principles, a higher order of creativity and innovation, even when it seems like life has been an intimidation, even when it feels like there's been isolation. Be careful not to insulate ourselves, because when we do that, there's incubation. There's areas in us that will fester and continue to grow, but we need to come forth and say, I'm not going to stay in stagnation any longer. That's how we experience change that matters. You need to get moving in your vision. You need to get moving in your ideas. You need to get moving in the capacities that you currently possess. You may say, man, it feels like there's a season in my life where I'm not able to move. You know, one of the things I learned about seasons is that there is fertilizer that is designed to grow in the winter. They'll place fertilizer on a ground that it appears that you can't pierce it, but that fertilizer is designed to go deep beyond the ice, beyond the surface, and go directly to the root of your grass, so that when spring comes, you don't even know that it's been growing in the middle of a winter, because that hard surface was penetrated by the design that's in that fertilizer. It may not look good, it may not smell good, it may not even seem like it's going anywhere. It might appear that it has no value, but underneath that hard surface, that fertilizer was designed for that grass to grow. Things may have been thrown at you. Fertilizer may have been sprayed upon you. Seems like stuff is just overwhelming you. Stuff, that's what we call it. Stuff, things. Some people say it is what it is. All these different phrases that we have that acknowledge how we're feeling in a place of being unstuck. The first step is acknowledging the reality of how I feel and why I feel stuck or in stagnation, so that I can continue to move. That's what we can do to move from a place of stagnation to a place of manifesting that transformation. What is transformation again? Transcending your current form. And what is a form? That could be time, that could be space, that could be the reality that you're currently in. But you have the ability to transform, transcend your current form. And we do that by looking at the realities of us feeling unstuck and being in stagnation and getting into a flow. I'm Patrick Brown, your change architect.